Have you ever wondered how abuse affects your brain? It's not just the visible scars. Abuse changes the very way your brain functions, impacting your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors long after the trauma has ended. If you've experienced abuse, remember, your feelings are valid and it's not your fault. Understanding how trauma rewires your brain is a crucial step toward healing. Abuse, whether physical, emotional, or psychological, can leave lasting effects on the brain. These effects are often invisible, but can profoundly alter how we react to stress, relate to others, and even think about ourselves. In this video, we're going to dive into what exactly happens to your brain during and after abuse, explore expert insights, and share personal stories to help you understand these deep changes. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of how abuse affects the brain, what happens during trauma, and how knowledge of these changes can help you heal and regain control of your life. The brain's stress response. When you're exposed to abuse, your brain's stress system, especially the amygdala, goes into overdrive. The amygdala is responsible for detecting threats and triggering the fight or flight response. In the face of abuse, this system becomes hyperactive, causing your brain to constantly detect danger, even when no threat is present. What happens to the amygdala? The amygdala is like an alarm system in the brain. Normally, it helps you detect danger and respond quickly to threats. However, when you experience prolonged trauma, the amygdala becomes oversensitized. This means that your brain is always on high alert, constantly scanning for potential threats, even when you're in a safe environment. As a result, your body stays in a state of heightened anxiety and fear. Expert insight. Research shows that when your brain is continuously exposed to trauma, the amygdala becomes more reactive and more difficult to turn off. This makes it hard to relax, and even small, harmless situations can trigger an emotional or physical response. It can make you feel like you're always in danger, even when you're not. Example, Sarah's story. Take Sarah's example. Sarah was emotionally abused by her partner for years. Even after escaping the relationship, she still experiences anxiety when in social settings, as her amygdala remains on high alert. A loud sound, a sudden movement, or even a person standing too close can make her feel unsafe and cause a panic attack. Her brain's hyperreactivity has become a lasting effect of the trauma she endured. Key takeaway: an overactive amygdala creates a constant state of fear, where your brain is always expecting danger. This makes it incredibly difficult to relax or feel safe, even in situations that aren't threatening. What is the prefrontal cortex? The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that helps us make decisions, control impulses, and regulate emotions. It's responsible for keeping us calm in stressful situations and helping us think clearly. How trauma impacts the prefrontal cortex. When you experience abuse, the prefrontal cortex can become less active. This means that your ability to regulate emotions and make thoughtful decisions is impaired. In essence, the emotional part of your brain, the amygdala, is in overdrive, while the part that helps you calm down and make rational decisions is weakened. Expert insight. Studies show that trauma can reduce the activity of the prefrontal cortex, making it harder to think through situations, control impulses, or manage strong emotions. This imbalance in brain function can lead to mood swings, impulsive behaviors, and difficulty processing emotions properly. Example, John's story. John, who grew up in an abusive household, often finds himself reacting impulsively. When something triggers him, like a comment at work or a disagreement with a friend, he struggles to regulate his response. His emotions become overwhelming, and he can't think clearly to make the right decision. This lack of control often causes him to say or do things he regrets later, and his relationships suffer as a result. Key takeaway. With a less active prefrontal cortex, your emotional responses can feel out of control, and you may struggle with impulse control and decision-making. This is why many survivors of abuse have difficulty managing their emotions or thinking through situations clearly. The cycle of trauma. When the brain is repeatedly exposed to abuse, it can become trapped in a cycle of fear and anxiety. The brain gets used to being in constant survival mode, and this can make it harder to break free from the effects of the trauma. Survivors may start to see the world as a dangerous place and constantly live in fear. How understanding the brain helps healing. Understanding how abuse affects the brain is not just about knowing the science, it's about gaining the tools you need to heal. Recognizing that these changes in the brain are a direct result of trauma and not your fault can help you stop blaming yourself. It also gives you the knowledge to begin your healing journey, whether through therapy, mindfulness practices, or other methods of emotional regulation. Expert insight. Therapists and neuroscientists emphasize that acknowledging the impact of trauma on the brain is the first step toward recovery. When you understand that your brain is simply reacting to past threats, you can begin to take control of those reactions and create new, healthier patterns of thinking and feeling. Example, Anna's story. Anna was in an abusive relationship for years, and she felt stuck in a constant cycle of anxiety and self-blame. But when she learned about how trauma affects the brain, she was able to see her reactions as a natural response to her past experiences. This new perspective allowed her to approach therapy with a sense of empowerment and begin making progress toward healing. Key takeaway: understanding how abuse affects the brain is essential for breaking free from the cycle of trauma. It empowers you to take control of your healing journey and stop blaming yourself for natural responses to past pain. Closing remarks. In conclusion, the impact of abuse on the brain is profound and lasting. It affects how we react to stress, process emotions, and interact with others. But the good news is that recovery is possible. By understanding the science behind these changes, we can begin to heal and regain control of our lives. Remember, if you've been through abuse, you're not broken, you're healing, and the journey starts with knowledge and self-compassion. Call to action. If you or someone you know is struggling with the effects of abuse, don't hesitate to seek help. Healing is possible, and understanding the brain's role in trauma is a crucial step toward recovery. Share this video with someone who might benefit from it, and let's continue the conversation about breaking the cycle of trauma.